All right, so I can finally now explain this challenge. At first, I wasn't really able to explain it, but now learning about array destructuring and how that's different from the array literal syntax, I can explain it. So basically, we have the fish dishes, and this is going to include the salmon, the tuna, and the fish and chips. And then we have the meat dishes, which is going to have lasagna, spaghetti, and the chicken skewer. So basically what he wanted us to do is modify these variables. So the first thing we do here is we use array destructuring. And we do this by saying let, and then the array literal syntax, and then we equal it to the array that we want to destructure. And in this example, or this variable, we basically want to take the fish dishes and we want to destructure all of these elements. So because the chef's fish dishes are all of the dishes that start with an S, we can destructure salmon and we can put it into this variable of chef's fish dishes. And then with the rest of these elements, we can use the rest array spread operator, and the rest array spread operator basically takes the rest of the elements in the array and puts them inside of a new array. So since these don't start with an S, we can put them inside of the regular fish dishes array. And like I said, it's just going to make an array and put the rest of the elements from fish dishes into it. So now for the regular meat dishes, or just the meat dishes, we do the same thing. We do the array destructuring, and then we equal it to the meat dishes. And since the first dish in the meat dishes doesn't start with an S, we can put it inside of a variable of regular meat dishes. But since the rest of them do start with an S, we can put them inside of the array destructuring with the rest array spread operator. And this is going to create a new array, and it's going to get the rest of the meat dishes, so spaghetti and the chicken, and it's going to put it into this new array. So finally, we go to the bottom here, and now we can get the chef's dishes. So if you remember, the chef's dishes are grabbed by all the dishes that start with an S. So if we go back here, we see that the chef's meat dishes has already been grabbed up here from spaghetti and the chicken. So basically all we did was, this is a little bit different from array destructuring. This is the array literal syntax, and this is basically creating a new array. So it's getting the chef's meat dishes, so spaghetti and chicken of course, and it's going to spread them into this new array. And then it's going to add an element of the chef's fish dishes. And if we remember, the chef's fish dishes only grabs the salmon, so we don't have to spread this because it's just a variable. And in the regular dishes, it's the same concept. So we grab the regular fish dishes from the fish dishes. And if we remember, it's put into an array. So the grilled tuna and the fish and chips is put into an array of regular fish dishes. So we clone that array, and then we add the regular meat dishes. And if we remember this, it's just the lasagna. So we put it inside of a variable and then move it down here. So it's basically adding the element of regular meat dishes or lasagna into the spreaded array of the regular fish dishes. Or in other words, this variable right here, the regular dishes. So that's the difference between array destructuring and the array literal syntax. So the array destructuring is basically taking an array and it's allowing us to destructure the elements of that array to be able to be used as global variables. And the array literal syntax is taking the variables in arrays and it's making a new array by cloning existing arrays and allowing us to add elements to our newly cloned array. So these two triple dot operators or notations are doing two different things when we use it in the array destructuring versus when we use it in the array literal syntax.